Seminole State family. Welcome to Research Rally Live. We are faculty librarians at Seminole State College of Florida. I'm Nicole.
I'm Jason. Ross, your mic's not on.
It worked again. It worked.
Professional librarians on a broadcast show on the internet.
Yes, then we want to spend the next 30 minutes doing research with you. We're about to search, sift, sort, and please tell us in the comments, are we allowed to say sus? Are we too old for that? Our way through several sources. As always, we want to hear from you in the chat, especially if you have a research question. But before we get into that, we want to hear from one of our friends, Andrea, who works for the library. She likes to tell us about things that are going on at the library or other places on campus. And today she's literally in the library.
Hey everybody, Andrea here. I am sitting in front of our leisure books collection. If you are a reader and you want some books to check out and add to your TBR, come on by the Sanford Lake Mary or Altamont or Oviedo Library and take a look at our leisure books. You can also go online to Libby, which is an app that you can add your blue and gold card to, and we have lots of audiobooks and ebooks available there. We also have Comics Plus, which is all of anime, manga, and traditional comics that you can check out, and it's all for free. So if you are a big reader, check out our leisure section.
Thank you, Andrea. And by the way, anything like Andrea is definitely going to be plugging the leisure section among other events and resources that we have at the Seminole State College libraries on the Instagram. So we are very followable at NerdBirdSSC on IG. IG also known as Instagram. Jason, did anyone say if we're allowed to say sus or not? Because my kids would tell me no, don't say it.
Let me check. I'll check the comments here. Everybody wants to make sure that they're getting their name and the name of their IDS professor, but nobody yet. Nice. Nicole, I just say that we're allowed to say it until somebody says it, gives us the side eye or the groan.
Okay. Maybe. I have PTSD for my kids telling me, no, don't say that word. Don't say that word. Don't say that word. All right. Also joining us today is our librarian in training, the library's very own Maha, also known as Mihi. Miss AI, she's cool. Listen, we're talking about, where is it? Where's the little banner thing? Is it cheating to use AI in college? Every week we talk about a topic, we do the research, and we narrate the process, so we learn the steps and stuff like that. Jason, that music is too loud for me.
Is it? I turned it up. Okay, let's turn it down. Okay, here we go. How about this? How about that?
There we go. I can't rock and roll like that anymore. Okay.
We need a music bed. Hey, that's sus, Nicole.
We're allowed.
I say use it.
Okay.
You want embrace it, Nicole. Embrace it.
There we go.
All right. So we're gonna narrate the research process and have a discussion. Like that's what this is all about. Jason said, "Hey, let us know in the comments, your professor. Talk to us in the comments. We want to chat with you. We want to hear your feedback because we're always asking for our students' feedback for sure." And I do want to say one more thing. I'm a big fan of cheetahs, but there's only one kind of cheetah allowed around here. Is this kind of cheetah? You see him right there? See her? Okay. These are the cheetahs we want. We don't want any other cheetahs around here on this college campus.
I see what you're doing there, Nicole. I see what you're doing there. And you can even, yes, ask us, answer in the chat, yes or no. Is it cheating? We want to know from you. We're going to use this prompt as a research prompt, and we're going to do some research. But in the chat, Y or N, do you think it's cheating to use AI in college? We're legit asking you, and we're hoping that you're going to give us some quality answers here as we engage with you here on the show.
So, Maha, you are currently, and also more recently, before you started your master's program recently, you were a student in your undergrad, your bachelor's program. So like, what are your first thoughts on this? Like,
well, I don't think it's cheating if you use it in a right way, you know, like if you use it as drafts to like organize your thoughts, then I don't think that would be considered cheating because it's just like helping you. But of course, if your motive or your intention is to copy and paste, then of course I think that is not something that is right.
Okay, now of the whole group of us here, and Maha, correct me because I'm not sure, we haven't talked, I don't know if you have been using AI a lot, but Ross, like among this group here on the screen, you're the one that uses AI the most. So can you kind of tell us like why you kind of caught on so quickly to it?
I mean, I use AI like my personal assistant nowadays. I use it for everything from like planning meals to trying to figure out how to build my next search when I'm actually researching stuff. I mean, I really do use it for just about every single application I can think of. When I'm researching medical stuff, like I'll ask it questions. I've started getting it to ask me questions. What am I not seeing here? Here's this idea I have. Poke holes in it for me. And it's really good at that. Like, it's really good at getting me to think beyond my initial, search or my initial just question.
Thank you,
Whoa.
Ross. It was amazing.
That was amazing.
We got more videos. Maybe I'll try to work them in as much as I could. Oh wait, for those of you that aren't acquainted with Jason too closely, wait.
Is that Al in the back?
Yeah.
I don't. It's been so long. Oh wait, here it is.
That was my
Jason in a nutshell. Hey Al.
Hey, Al in the back. Hey, Al. What's
He
up,
doesn't
Al?
really-
He's waving. He's waving. Uh-oh,
Okay,
that was
so
sus. Uh-oh,
Just
that was sus.
before we get started, I guess we'll pull up the catalog and then we'll start talking about like if this was our paper topic, what would we do? And by the way, stop, Tony Robbins. He's up there. We did an ENC 1101 class, and this is one of the topics that people could choose from in Miss Russell's class is cheating in academic settings out of control. So this is a paper topic that some professors are putting out. Yes.
Yeah, and as you're pulling that up, Nicole, we did have some Y's and some N's, and I think everyone kind of agrees it depends on how it's used, but I would challenge everyone to wonder, who are you citing? How are you using it? Are you just taking what the results are and putting it in your paper for a college credit? As Ross was saying, it becomes more of his personal assistant now. Awesome. Hope that helps. But when you're paying for a college class where you're supposed to be doing the work and you put something into AI and that is what you take and then put it into your paper, now I start using air quotes. Whose paper is it? Is no longer your paper. And of course, if we're using something that we get from an outside source, we want to cite it. So it does start to get murky. So is it cheating? That's kind of what we're talking about today.
Yeah. I found there's a billion videos out there, right? I watched a few. And in this one, this podcaster is interviewing a professor. And the professor is basically saying, okay, AI can retrieve and synthesize information. So it can collect information for you, like ideas for paper topics or whatever. It can also synthesize by taking different pieces of information and kind of like processing them together to come up with maybe a conclusion or like to connect different pieces of information together. But it can't apply information. So like if you're Ross, you work with the construction program, those students learn like they could use AI to like write a paper on like how to build a house, but if they are taken to a site, they get an internship and then like, okay, like build the house now to apply that information. And if they can't do that, then that's a problem. This professor was saying if AI can retrieve and synthesize information, then using it he's postulated that using it to retrieve and synthesize information isn't even then technically cheating because so I don't know, if you want to watch it, like you could look it up. But I thought that was interesting. But so he does assessments for his students where he tests how they apply the knowledge. Because again, all of our students, they're learning. They've seen them. They're learning how to put out a fire. They're there doing it. They're applying the knowledge. You can't chat GPT your way out of like your final test on can you put out a fire in the fire program at Seminole State.
And we're asking in the chat, yes or no, do you use it in your real life? So do you DOUAIIRL? Was that SUS? Okay.
Now, also one thing, just to put this out there, I don't know if all of our students are aware of this. Is this my screen? Okay. So there is a student conduct office. And there is, it's called,
oh my, thanks, Nathaniel.
What'd he say? Oh,
it's just ripping on my.
Okay. Student code of conduct. You can open up this policy, and technically in the student code of conduct, the very general one, any work written, developed, co-created, co-authored, or inspired by artificial intelligence is prohibited. And this is the language that's on the technical policy. But fair warning to students: check your syllabus for every single course that you are enrolled here or any other institution, because professors can decide to implement any AI policy that they deem academically appropriate for that course or for the assignments. Ross, I see you shaking your head. You know more closely about this.
Well, I was actually looking at Sean's comment right there about comparing the AI with it. We teach a research skills class here, and I'm trying a couple things out this semester for the first time. And one of the assignments I made was just that. Like, it's really cool. I mean, I'm having you kind of evaluate a source using your own criteria and that kind of stuff, and then I'm having you ask AI, ask ChatGPT or Copilot, like, how would you assess this source? Like, what did I miss here? That kind of stuff. So I'm very interested to see how it turns out, but I'm happy to hear other people are doing it too.
Yeah.
I guess Lisa's cool.
Yeah, thank you, Lisa. And again, you want to look at your syllabus. You want to make sure that you're not, to Nicole's point, violating any academic honor code. But it kind of is, when you think about it, kind of like a newer version of like a wiki, like a Wikipedia, right? Wikipedia is kind of used for window shopping, right? For example, hey, there's a who's it, what's it? And you go, who's it, what's it? Oh, what? I'm going to go to Wikipedia and I'm going to type that in. And you go, oh, okay. And then you just walk away and you live the rest of your life. But many of the institutions will say, don't cite Wikipedia in your papers. But other folks say, well, that's good information. And they say, well, anyone can write it. Well, once again, the AI result is an aggregate of technically anyone. So technically anyone is writing it. Yes or no, Ross?
Well, yes, to a large degree. I think that's how I understand it too, is it's kind of like synthesizing it from all these sources and kind of putting together a quick report. I do love like Microsoft's Copilot though, where it does cite sources. It tells you where it pulled its information from, and I think that's really handy.
That's hot. Yeah,
I think more and more of the tools are going to start doing that.
And just to that note, everyone who put Y in the chat, can you let us know? Can you drop a name? What are you using? Because the one that you just said, some of my biggest problems with a lot of this new technology is we're not getting the sources. We have no idea where the citations are. And I know your professors would actually be very pleased and very thrilled to say, oh, that's where you got it from. And then you as the student go, yeah, professor, let me walk you through it. I downloaded this application. I put in these keywords. Here are the results. And then here are the sources where they pulled it from. And then you drop mic and sit back and flex on them. Can I say any of those words?
You can say
Maha. We'll get Maha's permission, and she's like our middleman on how cool we're.
That's what I am, the middleman.
Okay, and I think Copilot is a part of it's Microsoft. So as
we should have it.
Yeah, we have the 365 suite. By virtue of our Seminole State accounts, so definitely people can access in there. A
lot of chat GPTs.
Okay, so
FYI.
So I was like,
here's a Copilot. Hey, Nathaniel.
Oh, awesome. So
okay,
when we're searching for I search all the time every day. I'm a librarian, so sometimes I just like to get really I get like super creative to the point of almost being like childlike. Really, I was like, I want to see what the word cheating pulls up in the library search engine. It's so basic. It's too basic, right? I'm just curious. I want to see what it will pull up because I feel like I could be enlightened to some aspect.
Someone's got a chat
in the literature. Yeah, who's on chat?
Keep going. Keep going. As you guys see, when you go to seminolestate.edu/library, and then when you do click on the library databases, hit that SSO button, click the single sign-on up top. That'll log you in for that session. And then you heard a chat ding. That's in the bottom corner there. We do have 24-hour 7 days a week chat service for our Seminole State College students.
I am signed in. That's why if I want to, I can save stuff in my favorites, go to my favorites.
Cool.
Cheating, a book written in 2010. A book printed out. I don't think that's going to tell me anything about artificial intelligence. Contract cheating, online cheating amid COVID-19. in this other video, this video I found, he references that the COVID-19 pandemic and students during that period, that's kind of when we saw this upswell of use of AI to like, that was kind of one of the ways, because a lot of students felt like they fell behind in that era in a lot of ways, and were, you know, kind of trying to maybe compensate for that.
Matt throwing it in. Okay, Matt.
Matt, it's sus. Oh wait, it's a sus burger. Right,
Ooh, we doubled it. We doubled the audio. Nice.
So I'm finding like random stuff. I'm just curious. Cheating under pressure, a self-protection model of workplace cheating behavior, and that's a peer-reviewed article. I just think it's interesting to see like what random stuff I could find that might help me later in life. But it's not helping me right now.
Students, what Nicole just said, it's not helping me right now.
No.
I'm asking you in the chat, students, tell me if I'm right or I'm wrong. Should we use cheating, get it out of the way, and put a new word in there, such as is it a violation of the honor code?
Ethics.
Or right, Ross? Or is it going to be ethical to use it? I don't know if cheating is the right word. I would also argue to use plagiarism. Am I plagiarizing? And again, I'm using synonyms, but we want to get to the final destination in this hypothetical scenario. Students, we appreciate you playing along. We've all been assigned this prompt in the class, and we have to write a 3-page paper, right? Is it cheating to use AI in college? When we usually do that in Google, we're going to put in that entire question, but we really just want to put in our key words, our phrases that we want to use. And I wonder, Erica's coming at me with some plagiarism too. I wonder, there's no right or wrong here. Where you end up getting the answers you want is in the results. You got to do the research.
We're going to have to do multiple iterations of our keywords if we want to be thorough and do our due diligence of really trying out all the different synonyms, as Jason's mentioning. So we shouldn't just do 1 or 2 or even 3 searches. We should probably do like 6 or 7 different versions of our searches. I just put on AI because I'm like, let me start at the most easiest place. Let me just add the word or the really acronym AI. If I do quotation marks around artificial intelligence, that might bring me up something different. Although the algorithms and stuff, speaking of AI, really help our search engine do some guesswork for you as you're searching the library. That used to not really be the case. It's acting more and more like a Google these days, where it's like, oh, hey, did you mean this? Do you want this instead?
Let me pull up David Fernandez. David has and it goes by Tyrannocarp. Something an AI writes cannot be copywritten, therefore it isn't plagiarism. That's a slippery slope, especially when you're under the restrictions of the academic honor code at your higher education institutions. When you're plagiarizing, you might want to go to Webster's dictionary and look up the definition of plagiarism, not just you, but everybody. And if you're taking something and saying, hey, this is my work, and you're not citing properly where you got that information from, that would be the key of plagiarism. In fact, the key word, the root word of plagiarism, plagiarist, comes from kidnapper in Latin. So you can look that up and correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not, so don't look it up. So when you're looking at this information, when you have that, I don't know, that's a good point, but we can debate that.
And really the inference is if you don't cite something, the inference, I think inference is the word, is that you're saying, I came up with this idea. So that's still plagiarism. Even if that thing can't be copywritten, you're basically putting across the idea like, this comes from me and not from somewhere else. So I think that's part of that conversation right there.
Well, it's something that I thought of too, is like, I mean, legally speaking, I think you're right. It's probably not plagiarism. I mean, companies use it every single day to write content for their websites and things like that. But we're talking academically.
That's correct. Though. We're in the confines of this arena here. When you come back here, it's not plagiarism if you paraphrase and reiterate the text into your own words. However, Christina, yes or no, would you still have to put a citation? The answer is yes.
Certain type of one.
in your academic paper, even though you're using that information and you paraphrased it, you still need to tell your professor where you got that information from. And if you fail to do that, not you, but if the student fails to do that, then you do come up against possible plagiarism. And I'm glad we're having this conversation so everybody has a full grasp of this, because the stakes are high, right? You don't want to put something in and then go, oh, I didn't know, because guess what? You still get burnt on that. So for example, if you took something from somebody else and you did 5 sources from all these other people and you went, oh, whoopsies, oh, I failed to put the citations, that's just as much. It doesn't matter. The citations need to be there. And that's the contract that you and your professor have in the syllabus at the beginning of each term.
Sure. And that includes the in-text citations, which each in-text citation in the text of your paper connects to citations on your works cited page or your page of citations. So nice. Okay. Well, back to our little searchy poo. So what are we doing? I found another book published in 2025, ChatGPT, AI, and the Future of Writing. Okay. But that's at Altamont physically, which could be cool. I'm at Sanford. I can always click on this and request it be sent to me. Or I might have to call the library if the book's not checked out and do that. But anyway, what if I want to look at something right now? We want to look at something right now that tells us about something about AI. Is it cheating to use it in college? So let's.
And on that note, Nicole, we might hit the pause button because we're getting some questions here that are probably jumping away from what we're talking about. So we're going back here, but the AI did not make the work, therefore you can't steal it. Under copyright law, only a human can own something. So the difference here, we're not necessarily talking about copyright laws. We are academic librarians at a college, and we are talking about plagiarism. Plagiarism, by definition, is taking someone else's work and not giving them credit. In your syllabus, it will explain, and your professor will explain, that you are to find information, sources, and to cite those sources using a citation format suitable for that class. So that would be a violation if you used information from another source and didn't cite it. Now, I don't hear anybody on the call saying, hey, can't you cite ChatGPT, which if you're using APA, you can. I want to get away from copyright or any trademark or any of that stuff. That isn't what we're talking about. What we're getting at here is if you get something from somebody else's, what they've written, even if it comes from ChatGPT, you still have to cite where you got it from. And I do see here, it's not AI's work. That's what we're talking about. It's an aggregate. They're collecting that the response that you're receiving is being collected from other data points all across the World Wide Web. So this is a good conversation, but I want to make it crystal clear. Nobody in college is going to be going into a college research assignment and not citing anything. That's plagiarism 101. That's definitely bad. Those are bad.
Plagiarism is bad. All right, I'm pulling back up the search. I found a book in light of this conversation. I'm like, this title, it's an article, actually. Great, peer-reviewed, so I'm feeling pretty good about that so far. Maybe going up a 30,000 foot view and might include some of these things that we're discussing here. The importance of developing excellent humans, education, virtue, and ChatGPT. Let me click on the title, find out more about this peer-reviewed article. All right, so when I click on a title in the library search engine, I get more information about the item, whether it be an ebook, an article, or a printed book. I have some links to access the full text, but before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and find out a little bit more about it to see if I even want to bother to do more clicking. I've got a description here. Okay, concern, discussion, field of education, frustration, optimism. The subject categories, which I basically like to call these, what are they called? Hashtags. You put a hashtag on something on social media or on the web, and you click on that hashtag, it brings you to other things. It's very specifically about that thing. So think of subject tags as hashtags, but for academic content. I guess that would be an oversimplification, but I think it works in most instances to illustrate this. Chatbots, education policy, educational technology, generative, okay. Plagiarism is in there. And I conclude by noting how this discussion in ChatGPT implies the content mastery alone is not a sufficient condition for determining whether adequate education has taken place. So I think if we look at cheating, like, okay, by defining it in this context, Jason, you're talking about it's the academic context, and copyright aside, are we giving credit to where we're getting our information? In the academic setting, a learning process is supposed to take place. And if we use, and I talked to the director of student conduct the other day to ask her a few questions, and she said the process of learning the thing or the educational outcome that's in the curriculum or the syllabus or in your professor's assignment is not supposed to be replaced by using AI. So if you use AI to do something that your professor wants you to perform in order to learn a skill or develop a skill, is that correct? Ross, can you help me out here? Does that sound right? Or were you listening to me? Oh my gosh.
Well,
No.
I think in the chat, what I saw before was something about a photograph. That's different. That's a picture. And I'm seeing a lot of, there's some confusion here. And I just want to make it crystal clear. There's no source. It even says that in terms of service, when you use ChatGPT, it says anything is owned by you. Okay, where is the research taking place and where is the learning? What we're talking about is the product that you're providing for your professor, whether it's a paper, whether it's a speech, whether it's a podcast, whatever the assignment is. You as students, we as students are given a prompt, and we have to go and do research and give back to the professor what it is that we learned. If what you're saying is we just put a prompt into ChatGPT, we take that information, we give that to the professor, we don't say where we got it from, we don't cite it, and we don't add anything new to that information and build on it, that's acceptable, the answer is crystal clear, no. It's not acceptable. In fact, it's plagiarism and it's a violation of the academic honor code. So if we have 30 minutes on this call. This is a very good discussion. In fact, it's one of our best discussions that we've had with the students through chat, which is weird because we're discussing one way. But yes, David, I'm going to give you my email and we're going to chat. And I'd love to invite you to come into the library because I definitely think you're talking about legally and who owns what. This is information that you are getting from a different source, and you're unable to explain to your professor where you got it from, and just saying, well, ChatGPT gave it to me and I own it, and therefore I own it. And it's not correct. So it's going to be every student's individual prerogative to face these challenges. And some of the syllabi will explain to you, please don't use this. Or to Ross's point earlier, hey, why don't you put in a couple of prompts and see what comes back, a la Wikipedia, and see how it can get you on the right direction. Nicole and I taught a class earlier this morning, and the suggestion was pollution. Well, what kind of pollution? What pollution did you mean, Maha?
The air pollution.
Air pollution, water pollution, soil pollution.
What type of
Which pollution, right? Information pollution. So again, this is getting into really different areas here. And yes, David.
Jason made a friend.
He's getting his email address.
Sure, absolutely. That's what we're here for. And Ross, feel free to kind of help me out here.
No, I mean, everything you said, I agree with. Like, I mean, where I land on using AI, it's a research project. You're not supposed to produce anything original in a research paper. You're supposed to report back on what you've learned, synthesize it, kind of come up with conclusions based on that evidence. But at the end of the day, it's still not your opinion. It's an evidence-based answer, right? And that's what we're doing. So if you can use ChatGPT to help you arrive at that, you're still going to need concrete sources there. And AI just won't cut it for that. Zinger!
Period.
Sorry, I'm trying to work in every video in this one.
I love it. This is the most entertaining. I want a video, Nicole.
I know you don't have one yet.
want
I need to make
money,
one. Okay.
Mama money, Jason.
And remember, crystal clear here. Let's keep the four square shot here.
Okay.
We're at a college.
Mm-hmm.
We're in the constraints of academia. We're not talking about a picture. We're not talking about a t-shirt. We're not talking about trademark. We're not talking about copyright. We're not talking about anything legal outside of the legal where you pay to take the class and your professor gives you the contract. The contract is the syllabus. So I do think all of these questions should be directed towards the professor with specifics on what it is that you're looking for. And let's flash forward. If Maha, who's in graduate school right now at Florida State to get a master's degree, doesn't understand and submits the paper anyway, the ramifications are the same. Meaning, if the professor decides that it's plagiarism, then where are you at? Well, Jason, on the research rally, no. Now that student is in their own, right? So you have to figure this out. So with respect to the conversation, we're not talking about legal. We're talking about in the college, what the professor's looking for, okay? And it is a good conversation. And many of you are first-year experienced students, and we want to make sure that you're learning, and we want to challenge you. And this is kind of weird, right? 20 years ago, this wasn't happening. So post-COVID, it's all happening now. And what's happening is your professor doesn't really know who wrote the paper, who's in the class. Your professor's going, how do I give ChatGPT an A? And sometimes, just so you students know, sometimes the student is putting in there what the ChatGPT comes back and says, hey, Ross, I'm sorry, I'm ChatGPT. I can't answer that. I don't have any thoughts or feelings. And the students are unfortunately just copying and pasting that and putting it into the papers. It's not a good look, and there's no legality. So it is all about the academics. I hope that's coming across clear, and I appreciate the conversation. I hope you do as well.
Mm-hmm. I love it. I love it a lot.
Period.
All right. Well, I think period. Right? Am I allowed to say that?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Maha. And thank you for joining us today. Remember, we are librarians. We're here to help you with research, citations, and information needs. There's no question too big, no question too small, no question too weird. Trust me, we've heard it all, and we want to hear it all. We can save you time, and we can save you stress. So why haven't we heard from you yet? You can contact a librarian, help with research, again, citations, information needs, discussion about copyright and plagiarism and all those awesome things. They're not awesome. Some of them are awesome. Anyway, call us, chat with us, let us know what you need. And if you like hanging out, if you like hanging out with librarians and librarians in training, give us a like, a share, a subscribe, and join us any Wednesday at 3 p.m. We'll be back here. We'll be chatting about all sorts of things, ChatGPT and beyond, okay?
Go ahead and click on that link. You only need to click it once. It goes through your Raider Connect account. You do need to be signed into Raider Connect. If you have any issues, thoughts, concerns, questions, compliments, let us know. But that link is on the screen.
Remember, these are the good cheetahs.
It works.
All right, these are the cheetahs we want, okay?
Cutie.
All right. Where's the button?
Outro button. Thanks, everyone. Come to the library. We'll see you there for Nightbrary. Have a great day. Bye.
Bye.
Outro button.
There it is.
There it is.